next speaker is Faylene Bell, Director of Digital Marketing Platform Operations at Nvidia. Welcome, Faylene.
Thanks for having me. Let me just queue up my presentation. Hopefully everyone can see.
Yep, it looks great.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Faylene Bell, and I'm going to share with you some best practices with brands who have maximized their digital marketing transformation. Before I get started, let me share a little bit about me, who I am. I'm actually Director of Digital Marketing Platform Ops, and I work for a company called Nvidia, who is based here in Silicon Valley. Nvidia is really known as a huge player in the computer gaming and graphics space, and also recently has expanded, and now we're doing lots of things with fast computers. We power some of the world's fastest supercomputers and have also made some strides in artificial intelligence. So as a Director of Digital Marketing Platform Ops, what my role is at Nvidia, I'm responsible for our global marketing presence when you think about our digital footprint, the website. So I manage that element of the marketing capacity within Nvidia. And including Nvidia, what I've been doing there, I definitely have lots of experience in marketing, helping develop digital strategies, execute marketing plans for several brands. I've worked at AT&T, Digitas, American Express, American Cancer Society and Fiserv, including Nvidia as well. I'm married, I have 2 teenagers, and I live in San Francisco. And I also have a website, faylenebell.com, if you want to connect with me after this virtual event. So let me talk about the agenda for today, what I'm going to share with you briefly. I want to talk about some of the digital marketing best practices to me that have stood the test of time. The first thing is an example of how you need to keep global framework in mind. The second thing talks about using AI in channel management strategy. And then the third is an example of companies that have applied Agile and lean principles. Before we get into those examples, hopefully your eyes have now expanded. You're like, oh my gosh, what is this chart? So this chart illustrates the marketing technology landscape. And this was as of April of this year. And you can see there's more than 8,000 solution providers out there offering services in marketing technology. If you look at the graph on the left, you can see over the last 6 to 7 years, how we've gotten more and more companies offering marketing solutions. It's a very competitive, busy area, and oftentimes I think you can get overwhelmed trying to figure out the best partner. My advice and what I have seen to be successful are brands that really think about tools that help them accomplish 3 things. 1, any tool that's all about marketing automation. 2, any tool that's going to help you with your content management system. And 3, any tools that really going to help with customer relationship management, CRM. So of all the 8,000, you may only need 3 that really can help you achieve those. So now I'm going to shift gears and share some best practice examples from companies and brands I have personally worked at. First, Nvidia. So this is where I currently am working, and how we're actually leveraging best practices to help us with our digital marketing is designing and thinking about everything using a global framework approach. We customize our web experience, knowing that we have to take our English version of our site and transfer it and translate it into multiple versions of our site for our global customers. And we leverage Adobe Experience Manager as that content management CRM tool to help us do that. We also rely on a content delivery network. It helps make page loading times faster. And we also spend quite a bit of time evaluating which are the right marketing tools we need to add to our marketing tech space. The second example, when I worked at AT&T, I was director of e-commerce. managing the AT&T website. And in this example, we used AI in helping us with our channel strategy. We implemented a chatbot on the site. And that, of course, studied lots of machine learning data. And we also looked at customer behavior. And we also did lots of testing and analysis to figure out the most logical places to implement the chatbot. So that usually leaned on the billing side, the support side of the experience, because we found customers could really find value. Also, troubleshooting support tools leverage a lot of the AI functionality to help customers proactively repair any of their internet issues or device issues. And the last example I'll share, when I worked at Digitas, which is a digital marketing agency in Atlanta, I was VP of marketing at the time, and I partnered with Delta Airlines and SunTrust Bank. We used Agile methodology to help redesign their website and iPad experiences. And so Agile marketing, and what that means, is really taking an approach where you're doing iterative, short marketing experiments, frequent feedbacks, ability to react quickly to market conditions. It's very similar to Agile software methodology, which we also use in addition to the marketing aspect, where we're breaking up features and functionality and priorities into small increments. We're doing releases on a more frequent basis so that we can test, learn, and actually get more work done more efficiently. So those were some examples and best practices of what I did when I was at Digitas. In summary, digital transformation at any company, it must be a top-down approach, and the team has to have a visionary leader. You also should not try to build every solution yourself. You saw the graph earlier, there's 8,000 solution providers. You need to be smart about who you partner with to help you achieve your digital marketing objectives and strategies. And the last piece is data. Data is the glue and backbone for everything digital. Track and collect as much as possible. Leverage the A/B testing infrastructures on your website, through your marketing channels, and use that data to mine and help make intelligent actions and decisions. That is all I have for you today, because I have a condensed time period. And so you may reach out to me through my website, faylenebell.com. And I've also launched a new podcast, Zigzagging into Marketing Technology. So take a listen, and I will open it up to any questions.
Yeah, so for those of you in the audience who have any questions, please go ahead and ask them either in the chat or the Q&A. So I have a question. How do you go about selecting a tool like Chatbot?
Sure. Well, what we've used approach at different companies, but it's the same principle in my opinion. A lot of vendors want to come in and pitch to you, which is great. They'll share with you, all of the positive things with their tool, what they can do, capabilities. I also like to take it a step further and talk to actual customers who have used and implemented the tool. So I need some customer referrals that I can talk to. And I have found when I've talked to the customers who have used the tool, they'll share the good and the bad and the ugly. And things that are not on the roadmap that the tool can't do, or what the vendor promised. So to me, that's critical when you're looking at which tools and vendors to go with. It's not stopping with the Salesforce. And in addition to customer referrals, we also try to negotiate some kind of proof of concept. And some vendors and partners will provide that to you for free. Some will do it on a trial basis where, okay, we'll let you set this infrastructure up in your environment for 30 days. You can test it out and see how easy or hard it is. But those are also additional nuggets to think about, which vendors are letting you do those things, because that means a great deal in the whole scheme of all those partners.
All right. And what is your preferred marketing stack?
Definitely, I have to, I guess, lean towards where I am right now at Nvidia. And we have, like I said, we use Adobe products primarily for a lot of what we do from a global perspective. It's been very beneficial. AT&T also uses a lot of the Adobe products. So Adobe AEM, Adobe Experience Manager, to me is best in class when it comes to content management, scalable solutions, efficient. We have thousands and thousands of pages and content. So to me, that's my number one preferred solution. Adobe Analytics complements that AEM tool because that's how we actually leverage and track data on our web pages to make intelligent decisions. And then we also leverage social media tools. So there's some great listening tools out there. We are using Sprinkler. We've been pretty happy with them. And then we also leverage Marketo for a lot of our email campaigns. So it's definitely a combination. And Widen, I would say, is a new tool that we just implemented. That's our digital asset management tool that allows everyone in the company, internally and externally, to have one main repository of retrieving creative assets, images, logos, photography. And it's a very organized setup. So those are kind of my preferences.
What are your best steps or read for implementing ideation campaigns?
The best steps, I would say, include brainstorming sessions, of course. We typically like to do things like that off-site. We're virtual now, so it's probably like a virtual chat room to get out of the environment to really inspire juices to flow. I have had a lot of ideation and innovation success when we've also partnered with companies who can kind of come in and help craft the agenda, help us think about the best ways of tackling, getting creative ideas. And a lot of data and research is usually done before we even step into those ideations, kind of as a summary as to what others are doing and trends. And all that's usually helpful when we think about innovation and where we want to take our strategies.
Can you kindly give more detail about Agile marketing? Also, would you recommend some books on the topic?
Sure. So Agile, and I had a limited time, so I couldn't go deep. But Agile marketing and Agile methodologies is an approach that's been out for definitely some time, a couple years. I feel like it's very efficient. So if you have a particular feature or product that you're trying to release and onto your website, for example, Agile methodology is a way of how you get that software actually developed and launched onto your site. So the development teams and the marketing teams and creative teams all work in Agile team pods. There's a series of ceremonies that are considered Agile ceremony. And a ceremony spans from a daily stand-up session where the developers are talking about the most critical things they're working on for the next 24 hours, what they accomplished. Another ceremony is actually a sprint planning session. That's when you look at all of the work that has come in over the last couple of weeks and you prioritize that work, and you break the work up into chunks and you make assignments out. You also have a grooming ceremony, which is when the developers and the technical resources actually talk about together the best approach to accomplishing the work. So from a development perspective, you'll have an architect, a front-end developer, a back-end developer, or UX person, all in those conversations, talking about the best way to approach the work. And then I would say the last couple of ceremonies are all tied to release planning. So after you do all that great work, building it, prioritizing, you also need to figure out how you're going to launch that work into planning cycles. And retrospectives are things that you get together after you've actually released something into production, which means it's live, and you talk about what worked well, what didn't work well. I would say regarding reading and books, there's a lot of great resources out there. I would probably lean more towards the online sites like Agile Scrum websites and Agile playbooks. Those are websites that I feel have a lot of resources. I'm more of a visual person, so I'll do a video before I'll pick up a book. So I would just lean towards those kind of resources to help you get more familiar with Agile.
All right, and there's another question. Did Nvidia have to quickly change your digital marketing strategy due to the pandemic? Can you give us a few tips? Thank you in advance.
You know, the great thing about being in digital marketing, this pandemic has not slowed us down a bit. We've been doing digital marketing before the pandemic. So we had a digital marketing strategy in place before we were shut down because we believed in the digital space. So our strategy has not changed. If anything, things have blown off the rails as far as productivity and the things we've been able to launch. We did convert one of our large developer conferences onto an online-only digital platform, which was a huge undertaking for our teams digitally, but it's something that we can leverage and we'll continue to refine year after year. Even when things open back up, we will still most likely have that large digital presence with conferences and everything else. So nothing has changed for us. It's just gotten busier.
Got it. And actually, there was an add-on to that first question, the question, how do you go about selecting a tool like Chatbot? The add-on is, what criteria do you use besides cost? And how do you, one, get access to their customers? Two, do you go asking for non-referral customers?
I would say most vendors will provide information where you can access some of their customers' referrals. If they want your business, they will provide that information to you. In addition to cost, you also need to look at, if possible, where they've implemented the bots, what kind of data they've been able to mine, and the success. You got to look at the metrics. So was that bot designed to help customers pay their bills more efficiently, for example, or do X, Y, and Z? What results has that service been able to deliver upon? And I think it's important to not just look at price as the only factor, because the most expensive vendor may not necessarily be the one that can integrate quickly with your solutions and your tools. So that's also important if the vendor has experience in your infrastructure or aware of kind of the dynamics of how you've set up everything. It makes it a lot easier to implement their solution inside of your world.
Okay, and this question is from Lil Ree. How can someone get started in digital marketing? Do you know of any classes that you can recommend?
Sure. So I didn't come up in the traditional way. I mean, I majored in marketing and I did some zigzagging, which my podcast talks about. I feel that there's lots of courses now available to you that wasn't available to me necessarily when I was in college. Like LinkedIn has a lot of great online free courses that you can take to get more familiar in the space, understand the terminology. If you don't have any experience at all, think about trying to take on an internship. Maybe not just a paid internship, volunteer. See if there's an opportunity for you to get some hands-on experience doing some digital marketing. And digital marketing is constantly evolving. So if you don't like to keep up with technology and like to pivot often, then this is not the space for you.
All right, I think we've got one more question that we've got time for.
Okay, wow, lots of questions, great.
Yeah. From Chris, what, if any, are you going to change with the ARM acquisition?
I can't say right now. We're talking through that, of course. So I'm not really able to share anything else at this point.
Understandable. All right. Thank you so much, Faylene.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure having you with us today.